Hi everybody, welcome to this year's wreath making. As you can see, it's a little bit different than in the past, and unfortunately I'd love to give you cake and cups of tea and play some band music for you, but you're going to have to get your own this year. But you can still have lots of fun and make a beautiful wreath to go on your door. So this is part one, and in this video I'm going to try to show you how to bend the willow into your actual wreath shape. Don't be worried that you might be making a gigantic wreath. They're usually pretty big. If you're really strong, you can bend it into a much smaller wreath, but if you're not very strong like me, it will probably be very big and a little bit thin, but you can make up for it with all the greenery later. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to have with you your bundle of willow and your wires and a pair of secateurs for snipping bits off. Okay, so make sure you've got those with you. Maybe a hot chocolate for after you're done. The stronger stuff can come later. So start by getting the biggest piece of willow that you've got. So the one with the fattest end. I think that's probably this one for me. And what you want to do, if you can remember from last year and the years before, because I know many of you have done this many times, you probably don't need this video at all. And in fact, I'm the worst one at actually making the wreath shapes. So, you know, if I can do it, anybody can. I'm not even sure if I can, but you want to start by taking the fattest end. Now, some of your willow, this is a pretty small one actually, and some of your willow will be really thick. You'll probably end up chopping the end off anyway, so don't worry that you can't make it really pliable. So you want to be taking it and you want to be doing little tiny bends as you go along, just little bends like that, okay? And just giving it a little, if you do it too hard, you'll snap it. So just give little bends both ways. You might like to take your knee and give it, I've put some jeans on with my thermals so that I won't end up getting too bruised, but I usually get quite bruised. And you might run it along your leg just to make it nice and rounded. Okay. Don't worry about all the little spriggy bits at the end. You'll probably chop those off later anyway. I kind of like them sometimes, so I'm going to leave it for now. And I'm going to go through and give all of them a nice little bend. Oh, just lost a bit. Okay. When you've done that to all of them, and I have cheated a little because actually I had my husband come out and bend some of them for me a little while ago, you should be able to start. You can do it as you go along if you want to, but take the biggest one first. So I'll use this one that I just showed you. And what you want to do is to try, got a bit of a bend in it already. Doesn't matter. In the end, you can even it all out with greenery. And you want to try to bring it round into a loop. And I know that's not a very round loop, but it's the start. And when you've got that, you want to loop it into itself over and over to make a round shape. Just bending it in, trying not to snap it. You want to do that. And this fat bit as well, that's the tougher bit, is trying to get the fat bit around there. And just be gentle with it. If you have to snap an end off because it sticks out the bottom, you can do that later. There's just a few key things for doing this anyway. I don't think there's very many rights and wrongs. Let's hope not anyway. Okay. There, bit of a tough one. And I'm going to try and push it into shape a little bit. Now, the key thing is, on all of your next ones, you want to go in the same direction. So I laid it on going this way, so it's going that way. I want to put the next one on in a different spot, going the same direction, so I don't have all the fat ends all together in one spot and skinny bits here, if that makes sense. I haven't used any wire yet. I'm trying not to use very much wire because for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to see it, and secondly, I find it scratches the door a bit. So if I can get away with using not as much wire, once the willow dries, right now it's quite wet. We keep it in a bucket before you get it, so it will be quite fresh and quite wet, and it's only just been chopped. So it's quite malleable, but it does dry, and as it dries, it will grip itself anyway, so you don't actually need very much metal. So if you can avoid using it, do. I don't need it yet, but I probably will do in a minute or so. Just wrapping those guys all around. My next fattest one. There's my next fattest one. Oh, hello, chicken. That is a chicken. I'm actually not talking to myself. I'll show you my chicken in a minute. So get the other one, lay it on somewhere else, nearby, maybe further up, and then start to wrap. Not like Snoop Dogg. I mean like wrap your willow around. Oh, my chicken is quite interested in this. Aren't you, Gudrun? I hope I don't mess this up on my video. All right, I'm pulling it all apart now. It does, this has got a couple of, if you can see, it's got lots of ends on it, that one. If I can wrap it around well, I'm going to get a nice chunky one. I don't lose all of this while I do it. Now, basically, just keep laying them out. I'm making a real mess of this, and it's probably because I'm focusing on this video. Lay them out so that they go up in different places, and that's the main thing to do until you've got yourself a shape. I'm going to turn this video off, and I'm going to try and actually make the shape, and then I'll be back in a minute. Hello, I'm back, and this is Gudrun, the chicken. She's in my social bubble, so she's decided to come along and help me make my wreath. When I last left you, I was trying to add more willow to it, and I have added a little bit more. Say hello, Gudrun. I'll put her down. So my wreath looks a bit like this now. I've tried to add them all on in different places. You see? And I'm using the smaller ones now. I was a bit naughty and some of them broke because I didn't bend them nicely enough. So I would say take time and take care and enjoy it and bend them slowly, and then you won't have snapped ones like this. But I'll probably still try and fit on there somehow because I don't like to waste things. But I still have a couple of more to put on. So I'll do another one while we're on here. My next fattest one. And I'm going to start it up here. Check that one's bent enough. It's not very round, my wreath. But you know what? Some people can get them really round. You might, and you might not. Mine are never very round, but when they're on the door, nobody notices. I just make up for it with the greenery later, so you can do that. And some people like to make them oval to start with, so you might even be keen on that. Trying to I haven't used any wires yet either. Maybe I should have, but I haven't. I am still trying to bend it round and make it relatively round. I should probably stand back. If I stand up here, then you can see me better. I just live on the main road, so I don't know how good the sound is. Right, this is my last one. I'm going to have to chop some of these ends off, I know. I'll try and bend them round as best I can. And hopefully I don't knock my iPad off with this willow as well while I'm standing up here. Right, where shall I go for this last piece? You can use your tummy as well. If you've got a nice padding like I've got. I'm also wearing a lot of layers. I'm not actually this chunky. It's cold out. You can push it on your stomach and try and make it a little bit rounder. Right, where's the next spot? I think it's got to go from here. Right. When I'm done this, and you can wrap, if you've got help holding it, it's a lot easier. So if somebody holds it and someone else puts it through the middle, when we do it in the band hut, we usually try and help people do that so that they can get it a little bit rounder, but on your own, sadly, it's not so easy. And unfortunately, my chicken is not being an incredible help right now. She's still over there, but she's given up on wreath making, much as my children have done in the past. Right. Trying to get this all really tightly. And you can tuck the little ends in as well to try and Try and make it as thick as possible. Yeah, it's not going to be the roundest this year, but I do like a nice big wreath on the door. And this will be a nice big wreath. When I get lots and lots of greenery into it, it'll be a nice big wreath. I might actually tuck some of these ends in with some wire. Haven't put any on yet. This is the first bit. So just take the wire and if you can, just loop it to some others. Try and be as minimal as you can with the wire because you don't really want it seen. You'll need it for the greenery. There's no way around that. You can tuck the greenery in, and to be fair, once the wind catches hold of it on your door, most of the time you end up making repairs to it later on anyway, but it's worth it. Mine always gets repaired a few times. Sometimes I have to change some of the stuff I put on it and put some new stuff in if it looks a bit banged up. Stop pecking my foot. Not you. You're not pecking my foot. Ah, Katrin. Right. Not the nicest wire work ever, but it's tucked that bit in. And I will go, I like some of the straggly bits. Stop pecking me. Hey! But I will chop off some of them. And again, try and get it a bit round. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you want a perfect one, there are wonderful florists that make lovely perfect ones. But if you want, it's attached to my sweater. If you want something that you know you've made yourself with all of its slight deformities, then you've come to the right place. It will be beautiful, I promise. Right, so that, and yours might be a lot rounder. I hope yours is a lot rounder, but like I said, you won't notice it in the end. There you go. So that is part one. It's your basic wreath shape. There will be another video that comes next for putting in your greenery, and there'll be a final one for making a bow. So grab yourself a hot chocolate, and I'll see you on the next one.